Alright, so look here, people. I got a YouTube page. It's called Setting the Record Straight, but you can find it at Taquan Lee 1999. You gotta type in at Taquan Lee. I've already talked about this issue 7 months ago, people. And you can go back and watch the video. If you can watch it for that long, you can do that. If you can't, I would recommend you at least watch the first 10 to 15 minutes of it, and you'll understand what's really going on. But I'm gonna bring you some information today. Now I have some quotes that I'm gonna read for you. Then I'm gonna show you history to back it up. Now it says this, and it's from this book called Now is the Dawning of the New Age, New World Order. And it's on page 42. Mazzini with Pike, Albert Pike, and then Giuseppe Mazzini. Albert Pike is the one who is a Freemason, wrote the book Morals and Dogma. Giuseppe Mazzini was a Freemason. He also participated in the Mafia and everything of that sort, but let's continue. Developed a plan for 3 world wars so that eventually every nation will be willing to surrender its national sovereignty to a world government. The first war was to end the Tsarist regime in Russia, and the second war was to allow the Soviet Union to control Europe. The third world war, was to be in the Middle East between Muslims and Jews and would result in Armageddon. Let me show you history. People. Tsar Nicholas II, ineffective leadership and a weak infrastructure during the war led to the demise of the Romanov, if I'm saying it correctly, dynasty. World War I saw the crumbling of empires, and among those to collapse was the Russian Empire of the Tsar. Now look here. Which Tsar was overthrown in 1917? Tsar Nicholas II. Remember, as the last Tsar of Russia, Tsar Nicholas II was Russia's last autocrat when he abdicated in 1917. Here's my next quote. Albert Pike letter that he wrote to Mazzini dated August 15, 1871, in which he outlined plans for 3 world wars that were seen as necessary to bring about the one world order. For a short time, this letter was on display in the British Museum, people, in their library in London, and it was copied by William Guy Carr, former intelligence officer in the Royal Canadian Navy. Others claimed that the information reached Carr via another route. But let's keep continuing though. And it says this: the First World War was to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia, the protector of the Orthodoxy. The Tsars were the protector of the Orthodox Church. So it was a religious battle as well. It wasn't a political component. It wasn't just about money. It was a religious component to World War I as well. But it also says this too: and bring about an atheist communist state. We're going to see if that happened, people. Like I said, I'm going to show you these quotes and I'm going to show you history. The Second World War was to originate between Great Britain and Germany to strengthen communism as antithesis to Judeo-Christian culture and bring about a Zionist state in Israel. The Third World War, a Middle Eastern war involving Judaism and Islam, is spreading internationally. Now let's see if this happened, people. Now remember, it said that an atheist communist state will be established in Russia after World War I. Look at this quote. Joseph Stalin led a uniquely brutal campaign against religion and religious leaders. When the era of communist rule began in Russia in 1917, religion was seen as a hindrance to a thriving socialist society. As Karl Marx, co-author of the Communist Manifesto, by the way, I have that book and I've read it, declared communism begins where atheism begins. Now go back to this quote real quick. This one said that it was all supposed to be in the Second War to allow the Soviet Union to control Europe. Let's see if that happened. We have it right here, people. The Soviet Union occupies Eastern Europe. At the end of World War II, the Soviet Union occupied Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Poland, and Eastern Germany. Great Britain, the United States, France, and the Soviet Union divided Germany and Berlin into 4 occupation zones to be administered by the 4 countries. Now for this one, it said to originate between Great Britain and Germany. If you've been in class, if you did your studying in your history, you should know that that's exactly what happened. You don't have to do too much digging to find that out. or any of this stuff for that matter, but especially this one. But let's continue. Just to show you a little bit of more proof, when did Russia turn into communism? 1917. Communism was adopted in Russia after the Russian Revolution, a series of revolutions that lasted throughout 1917 for centuries leading up to World War I. Russia was ruled by an absolute monarchy under which the lower classes had long suffered in poverty. Now, it also said it was supposed to bring a Zionist state in Israel. Self-explanatory. After World War II, the Jews were relocated to Israel. That's history. You don't got to do too much digging to do that. But let's see who helped them relocate, people. Now here goes my last quote, people. Albert Pike planned 3 world wars in a letter to Mazzini dated August 15, 1871, and until recently on display in the British Museum. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, will receive the pure light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of, you see it right there, the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. This is what they're planning to do, people. This World War III, it was planned out, mapped out years ago. And another thing, too, have you ever thought about this, too? And this is history for you. After World War I, you get the League of Nations. League of Nations. League. Everybody comes together. Okay. Think about this one, too. What is it? World War II. United Nations. United. Come on now, people. All this stuff is just not coming together or just mapping out or coming together like a puzzle for no reason. These people are mapping this stuff out. They're planning it out. And they're going to go all ways, wrap it around just a conspiracy theory or, somebody tweaking. We just coming up with wild stories. Something is psychologically wrong with us. I don't understand it. And the Bible talks about these issues countless times. So you telling me the Bible says this stuff and the history books say this, but yet I'm not supposed to believe you? Whether it's a Mason or even a non-Mason? This is what the facts say, people. And this is what's actually happening, though. It would be different if the stuff wasn't happening. This quote was, 1871. I wasn't even my dad's genital area.